correspondent for The Sun, good friend of mine. Jack Elson, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jeremy. What a fantastic introduction.
Can I just ask, Harry, great job on Thursday. We're going to Cheltenham all week. Cole's already on the source. Did you get a day out at Cheltenham or not?
I think to be confirmed at the moment. I'm actually off on Friday, so my diary is clear. In case
if you want to join us on Friday, the invite's open, and I think it would be a disgrace if he didn't. I mean, I rang him up, I helped him with the show. He should give you a day off. We haven't got an awful lot of time, so we're going to flit around. But this whole reform thing, which blew up, very interesting for me. Somebody's obviously decided that they're not going to talk to the press, which creates even more intrigue and interest. Why they're not speaking? They're saying, the Reform Party, that this has been going on for a while and that Rupert Lowe is difficult. Other people are saying the timing of the accusations are so outrageously bad and against the time he criticised Farage. What I do know, sitting here this afternoon, is that this is a massive own goal and an open goal for the Tory party. I don't know if you heard me make the point. I'd have had them all in a room Saturday morning if I was Kemi, and I'd have been saying, here's our chance. Not a bleeding word from them, Jack, with the greatest of respect. Nothing.
Well, sometimes a period of silence on behalf of the parties which aren't in the proverbial is sometimes actually quite good. You give someone enough rope and they'll hang themselves. Okay. So maybe that's why they're staying out of it. I had a Reform spokesman earlier on saying that Rupert Lowe was informed of this investigation against him 7 days before that pretty explosive Mail article in which he came for Nigel Farage and questioned his leadership. I imagine it's probably a bit of both here. It seems that tensions have been bubbling up between the two for quite some time. Nobody really knows what happened with this investigation. Obviously, Rupert Lowe is denying the whole thing, although it does seem that Nigel Farage often isn't happy with people that overshadow him, criticise him. I mean, in some regards, Nigel Farage probably has the thickest skin in Westminster, all the names he's been called over the years, and to keep doing this now after decades. But at other times, people around him say that actually he is quite sensitive to people questioning his style of leadership, and his political career is littered with the bodies of people who have almost tried to come at him in various ways and have failed, Ben Habib probably being one of them. So obviously it's not good for them, and I think that it definitely has more ramifications in a smaller parliamentary party. There was 5 of them, there's only 4 of them, so they shaved off a fifth of that already. But like you said, it's just a gift to the Conservatives and to Labour, really, because even if they go back to the Conservatives the next election, Labour definitely fear reform as their main challenger. And so to have them all fighting amongst themselves, I think is really damaging for them. I think it is interesting because on Twitter, Rupert Lowe definitely makes a lot of noise. He has a big following. Out in the country, I'm not so sure. Nigel Farage is reform to most people. His name recognition and facial recognition will be off the charts. He's probably the most recognised politician, I'd say, in the United Kingdom, probably even more than Keir Starmer, you'd actually bet. Rupert Lowe has a big traction in the grassroots of reform, and this will probably disillusion a lot of them. But whether or not it will actually take a dent to reform's poll ratings, I wouldn't be so sure. Really
interesting. That's why you are the chief political editor of The Sun. I thought you did that brilliantly. 3 other things very quickly. So we live in a world where if you've actually called... you're a sort of terrorist militant. If you've actually called for the death of all Jews and been filmed with an AK-47, you can get into this country illegally, backed up by a couple, poor little couple, Adrian and Joanne Fenton, got in motorhome, come back across from wherever they were on boat. Migrant underneath. Not that you'd have a look, but there was a migrant underneath. When their motorhome got back to this great country of ours, in brackets once was great, now closed brackets, there was a migrant underneath their truck. And do you know what happened? You know what happened? Okay. They got fined 1,500 quid and the migrant got a 4-star hotel for the night, a mobile phone and probably a load of cash. We're going mad, Jack Elson. What the hell is wrong with this country? That's an awful example again.
I've read this story earlier and genuinely couldn't believe it. And I think that most people in this country that read that story will be absolutely slack-jawed and gobsmacked when they see that, because it's almost as if the Home Office is now blaming other people for not having the wherewithal or the vigilance to check their own cars for illegal migrants. It shouldn't be the job. It shouldn't be the norm that you'd expect an illegal migrant to clamber up into your roof rack when you come back from your nice jolly from France. That shouldn't happen. That just shouldn't happen. The onus shouldn't be on them. The onus should be on, one, the French police to do diligent checks for the £500 million, by the way, which we're paying them for it, and also on this UK government to massively reduce the pull factors so that people don't want to come to this country if they know that if they come and they're caught here, they'll be deported within a very short space of time and never allowed back. So,
and I think
it's
that
definitely
phrase,
not on this poor couple.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I'm so with you. I've always believed that you and Harry are spot on. We all think the same on this. If this country was less accommodating, less attractive, and laid out the red carpet a bit less to people who don't deserve it and more to the people who do, I don't believe there will be the immigration there is. I think the absolute deterrent is not to wipe their backsides when they get here. The other thing I know you've got a great opinion of, some judges today, top judges have hit back at claims that are imposing a two-tier justice system that favours ethnic and gender minorities. The Sentencing Council have rebuked Justice Secretary Shabana Mahmood's demand to abandon their controversial new guidance. Last week it issued rules telling judges to take into account a convict's ethnicity, faith or gender when deciding whether to... See, this is another thing. So if you're a different gender to me, or you're confused about your gender, or you're a different ethnicity, or, you know, you're having a hard time with anxiety, you can get away with breaking the freaking law. Is that what we're saying now? You can get away with breaking the law. That's the truth, right?
Well, it definitely opens the possibility they could get softer sentences because pre-sentencing reports, which essentially is what this is, gives judges pause for thought before they decide whether to put someone in jail or not. And so one of the reasons they could prepare these sentencing reports is if someone's from an ethnic minority, a faith minority, if they are transgender. This was a massive row last week. And to the Justice Secretary's credit, Shabana Mahmood, she wrote to the Sentencing Council and said, while you are independent, I strongly urge you to drop these changes because they will create the impression of two-tier justice. And she said to her credit as well, as an ethnic minority herself, she is completely opposed to this, and justice should be blind. These unelected judges now have written back to her, and it is not just a rebuke, but it is a strong rebuke. They are accusing her of treading on the impartiality of the judiciary and saying they're not going to be backing down.
Hold on a second, treading on the impartiality of the judiciary. How is it impartial to say, if you're an ethnic minority or a gender minority, that you can commit a crime and get away with it simply because of your sex or the colour of your skin? That's rubbish. That is not impartiality. That is bias, isn't it?
Yeah, and the point they're making in their letter back to her is that there's lots of disparities within jailing of ethnic minorities and white people. But a lot of people would think it's not about not drilling down into the issues that more black men go to prison than more white men. But if you have committed a crime, then you should be completely equal under the law, and there should be no biased one way or the other. It's now going to be a massive row because the Justice Secretary has threatened to pass laws to essentially overrule the Sentencing Council if they didn't drop this guidance. And it looks like now the ball's in her court. She'll either have to back down or follow through with these threats. It's going to be a lively old row in the next few weeks. I think we are now await what move Shabana moves to.
See, this is why we need Donald Trump-esque in this country, because he'd simply say, they're fired. The Sentencing Council, I mean, that is ludicrous.